Please join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Could we have roll call, please?
Mr. Gilbert?
Here.
Mr. Detzel?
Here.
Mr. Keysort?
Here.
Mrs. Detzel? Here. Mr. Yoshimura?
Here. All right. First on the agenda, recognition of Northwest PTA Staff of the Year winners.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hope you guys are having a great Monday. For those of you all that are joining us online and don't know who I am, I'm Lindsay Creasy, and today I have the pleasure of announcing our 2020-2021 PTA Staff of the Year winners. We've had an amazing year. Our staff is awesome. They've done and gone above and beyond in a lot of different ways, and so it's such a pleasure and honor to be able to recognize them and all the work that they've done this year. We've had a large number of winners, so we've had to break our recognitions into two different presentations. And so tonight we'll be covering the second half of our winners. At our last meeting we covered a very large number of them, and today I believe we have 4. So I will pause for just a second to give Waycross an opportunity to bring up our YouTube. Oh, there we go. Hi, teachers. How you guys doing? Can you see me? All right, wonderful. Well, we're glad that you all had an opportunity to join us today. We are going to be recognizing each one of you all, and we'll be reading the submissions that were put in for your PTA Staff of the Year application. So, when I call your name, I want you to wave at me, and Waycross will know exactly who I'm talking to. They'll be able to bring your screen up to the front, and we'll all be able to see your smiling faces. All righty? Wonderful. So our first winner, our first PTA Staff of the Year winner is Audra Buckley. Audra, give me a wave. Hi. Audra is an established teacher at Northwest High School. She's worked in the Northwest Local School District for 22 years. Her dedication to student academic achievement is unmatched. Audra teaches all of our French students with a range of course offerings, including 2 CCP courses. She's proven to be effective in her teaching of students with various needs. Audra has taken several trips to Europe over her tenure at Northwest. She is currently planning to take students to Italy, Monaco, the French Riviera, and Barcelona, Spain. She stepped into a new role this year by working with credit-deficient sophomores. She's reached out to local businesses for incentives for students who are working hard to complete their classes and continues to motivate these learners on a daily basis. Audra continues to find innovative ways to reach students and works to meet expectations by adapting to each challenge that is presented to her. Please join me in giving Audra Buckley a round of applause. Our next PTA Staff of the Year winner is Angie Jones. Angie, give me a wave. Angie Jones serves as a Title I assistant at Struble Elementary, as well as our PTA treasurer. Angie fills each minute of her day working to support the students and staff members in our building. In addition to providing intense interventions for students, she is always working behind the scenes to ensure the day-to-day operations run smoothly. During the 1920 school year, Angie volunteered to chair the PTA's Santa Shop event and ran it smoothly as a service to the students and as a fundraiser. In spring of 2020, Angie began an after-school enrichment program for students that offered classes on interests and skills such as quilting, sewing, card making, yoga, and cooking. Over 50 students were registered before the program had to be canceled due to COVID. She hopes to resurrect the program as soon as safely as possible. Angie has also served as our PTA treasurer this year. a job where her organization and attention to detail are constantly demonstrated. We are honored to nominate Angie Jones as the Staff of the Year at Struble. Please join me in giving Angie Jones a great big round of applause. Our next PTA winner is Danielle Yeager. Danielle, give me a wave. Hey. Okay. Danielle Yeager serves as a kindergarten teacher at Struble. This year, she is working remotely to support our youngest Struble Blue Jay. She works hard to ensure that her students are learning by providing school supplies and materials for educational activities to use at home and by creating and engaging lessons. She includes social and emotional teaching in her daily instruction and has worked very closely with one of our school counselors to make sure that her students' needs are met. With such an unusual year and the importance of the remote learning program, we are happy to nominate Ms. Yeager as our remote teachers have truly blazed new trails this year. Please join me in giving Danielle Yeager a great big round of applause. Our last and final PTA winner of the year is Shelly Feldman. Hi, Shelly. Shelly is a support staff member who goes above and beyond for PRE and its students every single day. She truly cares about the students and wants them to be successful. She's able to build a connection with students and sees their strengths and potential. Shelly is always willing to lend a hand. She never says no to staff, no matter what the task, and is constantly taking the initiative to help students, teachers, and other staff members. She can be found sweeping the playground from leaves and debris on students so students won't fall, or shoveling the playground area so students can have recess. And when those recess balls disappear over the fence, well, they reappear the next day without fail. Shelly goes on the hunt. Shelly ensures that power packs are delivered to students weekly. She organizes, laminates, cuts, and never stops saying she loves her job. All of these examples are completed on top of her typical job description. Shelly is reliable, hardworking, positive, and compassionate. She has a great work ethic and attitude. She is truly a PRE star. Please join me in giving Shelly Feldman a great big round of applause. And that is my last presentation for the week.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations to each of you.
It brings us to legislative updates.
The big thing I have to share is that the Senate Primary and Secondary Education Committee continues to hold hearings. They held their 9th hearing this week on House Bill 110, which is the fair school funding bill. And also, as most people are probably aware, Governor Mike DeWine announced that most health orders will end on June 2nd, including mask mandates, social distancing, and capacity restrictions. And I believe Mr. Bowling is going to speak more about that in relation to the school district later in the meeting. And that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, next is Student Achievement Liaison Report.
Want to introduce the dynamic duo from Struble here. We got a great presentation tonight.
Thank you. Good evening, and thanks so much for having us tonight. My name is Karen Grayson, co-principal at Struble.
And I'm Trey Richmond, or co-principal at Struble.
And we are so excited to share with you tonight all of the amazing work that our staff, our counselors, and our students are doing this year with regard to social emotional learning. So we have just a few slides before we share a video with you. I know we've talked a lot about SEL, even at board meetings this year, but just as a reminder, SEL is the best way to cultivate a safe classroom and school climate. All of this work gives our students the tools that they need to manage emotions, to be confident and resilient in the face of adversity, which we've had a lot of this past school year, to make positive and pro-social choices, and to develop healthy relationships and deep, meaningful connections with each other. So what is SEL? When we teach SEL, we help students create a safe, loving, and healthy problem-solving community that enhances our ability to teach our students as well as our students' ability to learn. We know that without this work, we can't even begin to start the work of academics.
So we have Choose Love. So help us choose love every day. Now more than ever, like Karen said, we must create a safe school learning environment. Kids learn best when they are safe and nurtured. Where children feel secure, they're nurtured, empowered, and can thrive. And that's what it comes down to. When they feel their best, we get their best. So what does it look like at Struble? So we're very fortunate to have two counselors. We've got Taylor Lawson and Andy Steinman. All of our students in K-5 receive 45 minutes of SEL lessons each week as part of our special rotations. And then each month we have a character trait that we focus on, and they're listed there. And then the two of them actually plan a character breakfast where a student from each homeroom is nominated. And in a typical non-COVID year, we have a breakfast where the parents come in, family members, and celebrate them. This year we were able to do it with just the kids, but still took time to work with them and appreciate their hard work.
So we're going to take a few minutes to let you hear from our counselors and students. As Trey said, we'd be remiss without thanking Andy and Taylor. They worked hard to put this video together. They've worked hard all year with our staff and students, and we couldn't be prouder of the work that we've done this year.
Hello, I'm Andy Steinman. I'm one of the school counselors here at Struble Elementary. I work with 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. And this year, a few of our goals were to focus on creating meaningful relationships, work on our conflict resolution, our calming skills that we can use in the classroom to help us stay in the green zone so that we can learn and do our best learning all day. And I think my kiddos really did well this year, and they've learned a lot of skills and how to show empathy, and we've really been focusing on those things, and my Struble friends have done really great this year. Thank you.
Hi, I'm one of the school counselors here at Struble. I work with grades kindergarten, 1st, and 2nd, and during our SEL special, one of the biggest goals we had this year was to help students understand how to identify how they feel and also with those feelings and work through those feelings, especially a year like we've had this year with lots of ups and downs in the world that we're living in. And my goal was to help students understand that that is challenging, but we have tools and we can learn the tools together on how we can handle those challenges. And we've done that this year in our SEL program here at Struble.
In SEL, we learn about feelings, we learn about if something goes wrong, and we learn when someone is sad, we can help them by using good words and good feelings.
Empathy, calming skills, and how to be a good friend. We learn stuff like emotions and how to keep your emotions right. And you could be sad, happy, mad, or lonely, and everything is okay. And that's what we learn at SEL.
SEL, we learn about our feelings. In SEL, we learn the zones. We learn how to grow our brain. Empathy is trying to put yourself in other people's shoes and putting yourself in people's shoes to understand what they're going through. Empathy means you're trying to make somebody feel better when they're sad.
Empathy is when you walk in someone else's shoes to see their feelings.
Chase, what does a brave pose look like?
It looks like this.
And why do we do a brave pose?
Because we're not scared at all. This is my brave pose. Yep. When I get upset, I do my brave pose. It's great to be kind, but it's not great to be like super mean and I love you all. We can sing our kind words. If someone is feeling left out, you can play with them, or if they get hurt, you can help them up, or tell the teacher that they got hurt. And if somebody was bullying another person, you can step up for them and tell them to stop being mean to that person. My favorite thing is to do hard deep breaths and listen to my teacher. My favorite common skill is the pretzel breath. Wait. My favorite common skill is to use fidgets like this one. Listening to music and deep breaths.
Another strategy is maybe on a better time when there's like independent work or something, maybe tell the teacher why you feel some type of way and maybe go back and forth.
I like breathing.
One zone is the green zone, and the green zone is like where you're relaxed, ready to learn, and like you're excited, but you also have like a lot of energy to keep you up and steady and ready to learn.
Blue zone is when you're sad or frustrated, or when you like put your head down and you maybe like cry. And maybe you could probably like sleep. That'll make you probably feel better. Red zone is when you're mad, angry, and you just want to throw everything and you start crying because you're so mad, and that's what red zone is.
And last but not least, the yellow zone. The yellow zone is when you're like scared or like you just like panicking or you have anxiety. You're just going crazy in the inside. So that's all the zones that we have and all the zones that they are, and that's how we're going to end this video.
Well, the zones, green usually means when you're happy, and blue means when you're just feeling down, and when you're sad. And red, that's when you're very angry and upset about something. And yellow is mostly just when you're really happy and all trying to be funny and all that and just full of energy. The zones are a thing of you being calm or maybe mad or maybe sad or maybe the yellow, for example, like the yellow zone. The yellow zone, you might be like bored or you might have a lot of energy. The blue zone is that you might be sad, feel sick. The green is when you're happy, ready to learn. Red, you might be hitting or very mad.
Emrys, can you tell me a zone?
Blue zone.
What does it mean if you're in the blue zone?
Sad.
Jalen, can you tell me a zone?
the red zone.
What does it mean when you're in the red zone?
Nah.
Braxton, can you tell me a zone?
The green zone.
What does it mean when you're in the green zone?
Happy.
What zone do we have left?
The yellow zone.
What does it mean if you're in the yellow zone?
Frustrated.
Good job, girl.
My favorite zone is the green zone.
You could be a good friend by asking them if they are okay, if they look sad, and if they need help, you can help them.
Anna, what does it mean to be a friend?
To give them a hug.
That is a great idea.
You can be a good friend by helping somebody. We love SEL. We love SEL.
We love SEL.
We love SEL. We love FCL. We love SEL.
We love SEL.
We love you at SEL.
We love SEL.
We love SEL. We love SEL.
So obviously what we love about this work is that our kids can articulate so much of that. They know a lot about it. We've worked hard to develop that common language of zones so they can share how they're feeling and we can work as adults to help support them.
Yeah, I just want to add, I feel, going back a couple years before we had counselors, there'd be struggles and they'd come to us and we'd do our best to try to talk to them, but having counselors there to use the language and to really support them has been huge. And we can now have that conversation with them like they had there, and we're all using the same language. So, thank
Can
you.
I ask a question?
Yeah.
Maybe Brenda can answer it. Are the other elementary schools leaning towards adopting this SEL program?
All of the elementary school counselors are using the common curriculum.
Okay.
So they're doing different things with their brain tests.
Thank you.
Yeah, all the counselors, they work together, they have meetings, I think Mr. Gehring works with them, and yes, they kind of work together and share ideas, and it's been a great program that got started the last couple of years.
I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
One, this is outstanding. Like, this is life-changing stuff. It really is. Have you seen, and I know this has been a bad year maybe to pull data, but have you seen bullying go down, teaching empathy and these things? Like, have you seen the behavior? And I get, this might be a bad year to try to put a litmus to, but have you seen any, like, what climate change have you seen doing this?
I think over the years, since we've started this year one, we've definitely seen a decrease in the referrals. It is true this year it's a little bit difficult
Sure.
to gauge. It's a little bit of an odd year, as someone very wise said at the start of the school year. But we definitely have seen the impact that this is making and plan to continue to
Sure.
grow this as part of our culture.
Not going to be bad in any way.
Right, absolutely.
In any way. What feedback are you getting from parents? Are you getting any feedback from the parents that are saying, hey, I noticed my son or daughter is behaving this way. What's going on? Did you find some secret sauce? You know, what is it?
They'll ask to see one of the counselors, or talk with them, and then the counselors are great because they'll reach out to the parents and work with them. So the language is the same at school as it is at home, and they'll even call us and say, hey, is there a chance for the counselor to go see them today? Maybe something was going on, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, there's that dialogue is going back and forth.
That's outstanding.
It's huge.
That really is outstanding.
And even if there's just small problems throughout the day, or we appear small problems, isn't to them, and we have somebody right there to help them work through whatever situation is. Because the idea is to get them back in the classroom.
Sure.
And that's the end result.
And what are your teachers, your educators, and their support staff seeing? Obviously, the goal for this is, like you were saying, Trey, put them in a good spot so that they can learn more. What are we seeing from the educator? What's the feedback from them?
I think the feedback's been positive. As I said, we can't get to the business of learning, teaching the academics if our students are not ready to learn. So we've done a lot of work. Our counselors have done a lot of professional learning with our staff, just to prepare to put this in the classroom and use it daily.
And to support our teachers. I mean, we have calm down corners that we never had years ago.
Sure.
Just our counselors have brought new ideas and interventions to help our kids get back in that.
On a side note, I tried my brave pose with my wife, and then she did hers, which wiped mine out at that point.
They're usually better.
Yes.
Real quick, first of all, Andy and Taylor clearly are doing an awesome job. The presentation was amazing. What I love is there were so many kids, and it wasn't just a few, and all of them are clearly learning from this because they all have the same message, but said it in different ways, which was awesome. So I think this is so important that our community knows what we are doing in the classroom. So I'm hoping, Lindsay, is there any way we can get that clip on Facebook or get it out there? This is a great presentation. Thank you.
Great job.
Yep, good job.
Okay.
And you're still up.
I'm still up, and I am apologizing ahead of time if I mispronounce, when I mispronounce some of these names. But we have a lot of exciting news. First of all, congratulations to Shahid Davis, who finished third out of 48 athletes in high jump at the Ohio Middle School Track and Field State Meet. Shahid Davis also took first place in high jump at the Greater Miami Conference Middle School Track and Field Championship. So that's a big deal for a middle schooler to get third in the state. So congratulations to Shahid. And now we have, for Colerain High School, the military signings. We have Carly Aldridge, U.S. Army. Kajendra Dungal, U.S. Army National Guard. Dalton Douglas, U.S. Army. Aiden Duncan, U.S. Marine Corps. Chris Johnson, U.S. Air Force. Yoel Kasey, U.S. Air Force. Ishori, U.S. Army. Cameron Richter, U.S. Army. Terrell Russell, U.S. Air Force. Wesley Saylor, U.S. Air Force. Chris Weldon, U.S. Navy. All of those are the military signings for Colerain High School. We want to congratulate all of you. We want to thank you now for committing to your service, and all of you be safe. I'm going to go ahead and do Colerain High School summa cum laude. Congratulations to Sophia Bick, Christy Feldman, Analu Gaynor, Mandira Neopani, Bahavya Patel, and Andrew Rio. So congratulations to all of you. And for Northwest High School, summa cum laude, for those of you that had the opportunity to attend their graduation. Northwest graduated on Saturday. It was a beautiful day, and these students were recognized, but we would like to share them tonight. Joshua Charles Ackerman, Jennifer Hoang Kao, Cheyenne Elizabeth Goldick, Delisha Tama Johnson, Michelle Christine Mancini, Owen Thomas Mansung, Erin Marie Richter, Jenalee Marie Seitzer, and Kyle Brennan Thomas, Northwest High School summa cum laude. That's it. Thank you.
Anything for Butler Tech?
Yeah, a couple things, Mark. I wanted to second what Pam said about Northwest graduation on Saturday. It was very good. Everything went smooth. The weather was great. And I want to congratulate all the Butler Tech seniors. They're actually graduating right now. We have half of them at 4 o'clock, and then the other half are at 7 o'clock. I just want to congratulate them. And then Anna Gaynor named the U.S. Department of Education Presidential Scholarship semifinalist in Career Tech. And I believe she's in Peter Clark's financial class, and she is the first student from the state of Ohio ever to receive this honor since they started including CTE Career Tech students since 2015. So that is a really big deal for her to get that. And I want to congratulate Anna.
Congratulations, and her family. Any reports from any employee organizations? We received no community communications, which brings us to superintendent consent items.
Yes, for personnel items, we have approvals, resignations, and retirements. For general business items, we have a resolution for contracting of various building improvements, including HVAC upgrades, control upgrades, indoor air quality solutions, and other energy savings enhancements, utilizing the Ohio Council of Educational Purchasing Consortium. So we have facility improvements, ESSER II funds, it's HVAC and at all schools and the bus garage, all of which, again, will come out of ESSER II funds, all allowable uses. You will also find a recommendation for vendor contracts. Under vendor contracts, they were all budgeted for. You will find a large contract for annual services with the Hamilton County ESC. It is a split of contracts with other districts where we can get partial services where we do not have to spend full cost for one or two specific positions. It is a variety of services that are hard to find positions that they can get for districts and receive for us. You will also find donations. It is monetary donations to Colerain High School and Pleasant Run Middle School. You will also find roofing repairs at Pleasant Run Middle School and Houston Early Learning Center, and that will come out of our permanent improvement funds. So the superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the adoption of the superintendent's consent items as listed.
So moved.
Second. There's a motion and a second. Are there any questions or comments?
I just have a comment on the vendor items. There's a vendor contract for a contract with Transponder, and I spoke to both Todd Bowling and Chris McKee earlier, and it seems that it's an upgrade to the system we're currently using. It's going to be a cost savings in the long run, and along with also on this consent agenda, we're hiring assistant supervision in the transportation department. So it seems to me this is important to provide our staff and our employees with the proper tools to be able to be successful and more successful in their job. It's the way it's explained to me, it's a major upgrade and a lot more user-friendly than what our current system is using. And it'll be user-friendly for the parents at home to interact with the system as well.
Chris, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, just what you said, it'll increase our efficiency, a lot less errors. The team was very excited, went through several demos, really kicked the tires around, and I think it'll be a great improvement for the system.
I think one of the key things, like you said, Matt, is how user-friendly it is for our parents. With bus stops, actually tracking the bus, it'll tell you an estimated arrival time of when it will show up, especially on rainy days and snowy days, so the kid can be out to the bus stop when they need to. Some of which VersaTrain cannot do at this time.
I just remember in recent years, it's like when things go wrong in transportation, it seems to tend to go horribly wrong. And it's important that we safely transport our kids. So.
The other thing that it'll be a great help with is it'll also have a tablet that gives turn-by-turn directions while the driver is driving, so they no longer have a whole paper in one hand and try to drive with the other. That's especially important for our subs, since they don't know the kids. The actual pictures of the students will pop up at the stop, so they know what students are supposed to get on and off the bus. It'll just really improve accuracy and safety.
And if you think about as transient as we are with 16% of our population turning over, so kids are added to a bus or taken off a bus, so to have the ability to not have to check route sheets as you're driving to see what that is, and to have that there giving you turn-by-turn directions and telling you where to stop is huge.
So they embed the picture of the child. Is that done at the school, or is that done first day of picking them up on the bus, or?
It'll be done at school, so they'll be loaded into the system.
Nice.
Student information. It'll connect directly or interface directly with our student SRS.
Just real quick, I wanted to thank the 3 people that made the donations. There is no donation that is too small. This district is very fortunate to have a lot of people that donate all kinds of things, and it really makes a huge difference. So I just wanted to thank all 3 of you.
Consent item passed 5-0. That brings us to fiscal consent items. Amy Wells.
Oh, I need to go back then, because I should have brought up the resolution of the membership of Ohio, so.
Okay.
But you voted on it. Each year we are asked to be a part of the OHSA, so this is for Northwest and Colerain, so it was included in what you just voted for.
Okay.
So it was included in that, so I apologize for that. Just had it on the back of the second page and didn't see it. So that was also included.
No problem. Any questions about that? Anybody?
It just allows us to participate in all state competition.
Good evening. For the fiscal consent items, first we want to dispense with reading of and approve the May 3rd regular meeting minutes, as well as we have the financial report for the month of April. Our all funds balance was right around $63 million, with our general fund unreserved balance at $32 million. Our revenues for the year to date are at $89 million, or at 90% for the fiscal year. And our expenditures are $76 million, or at 78%. Remember, most of our revenue comes in property taxes, which is twice a year, so our revenue, timing of revenue is the majority comes in twice a year, where our expenditures are pretty much about $8 million a month, so twice a little bit. Our weighted average return on investments is 0.53%, just down a tad from last month. And our list of monthly bills were our routine monthly bills, as well as we had a quarterly student and fiscal HR software payment, our summer pavement project, vehicle was purchased, and then as throughout the year, we've had some pandemic supplies and auxiliary and grant fund payments. Once a year, we have to accept the amounts and rates, and what the amounts and rates are is we submit our annual budget in January, and then the county looks at our annual budget to determine the amount we need to receive from property taxes through the next year for our principal and interest payments, as on our bonds, as well as where our general fund sits, our permanent improvement funds, things like that. And then they set the amounts and rates to make sure that we bring in the same amount of revenue as we did when the levies were passed, as well as we can make our bond principal and interest payments. So with that, as you remember, the past couple of years, we've been working to try to get our Montford Heights bonds the correct millage for those, because the county was using the premium we received when we sold our master facility bonds towards those Montford Heights bond payments. So they were using money that we were paid to sell our bonds to help offset the master facility bond payments in the future towards the Montford Heights bonds. So we were able to get our Montford Heights bonds back to the original amount of 1.15 mils last year. Because of the revaluation and the valuations going up this past year, they now reduced it back to 1.12 mils. So they've reduced it down. We have another year of payments. We'll see where it ends up next year. But so I've been continually working with them to try to make sure that we're having the right millage for the right bonds. We also have to accept, approve, and appropriate 3 grants that our staff have been awarded. We have the High Schools of Work Equity and Achievement for WAMS. We have Montford Heights STEM team teaching and a flipped classroom at Colerain. Sorry, not Montford Heights. A STEM team teaching at PRE and a High Schools of Work flipped classroom at Colerain High School. And then finally we have our student handbook, student activities handbook that was for informational purposes only. Date changes, as well as adding cashless payments added to the student activity. So with that, I'd like to ask the board to approve the consent items as listed.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Are there any questions or comments?
Just real quick, for those of you that don't know, anytime we receive grants, it's due to employees going above and beyond. It's a lot more than just filling out a form. And there's a lot entailed to applying for a grant. So the fact that three of our schools, three different programs just got them is really, really good. So I just want to congratulate all the staff that worked so hard to get those, and ultimately the students are going to benefit from it.
Fiscal consent items passed 5-0.
In May, we do the five-year forecast update. Pass the five-year forecast in November, and then in May, at the end of the year, we do an update, see how we did for the year and how our projections changed going forward for the next 4 years. So a five-year forecast has our current fiscal year plus the next 4 projected years, and it also shows the prior 3 years. And just like in November, we want to make sure we keep in mind our district financial parameters and community partnership, which we agreed with our community that we would not increase our expenditures more than 3% per year to help pay costs, and so to help our community be able to support us. We also have a cash reserve policy of 60 days, so we can have in the year with obligations or encumbrances or invoices that haven't come in yet. We have summer pays, so the month of July and August, salary and benefits that need paid. We have economic downturns, just like we are just gone through. You have the state or federal government, whichever, but the state here recently reducing revenue in May for the end of the year and had projected for the next 2 years. So any of those things that can happen, as well as this past time because of the pandemic, they extended when tax payments were due, and as we previously said, we get our tax payments twice a year, August and February, and when they extend that deadline, if our 60% of our revenue is not coming in until October, and we normally get it in August, we have to have funds to be able to make payroll and pay our vendors, so we can pay our staff and our vendors. So without having cash in the bank, just like you would need in your savings account, you would have to borrow funds and pay in order to pay our obligations. And then finally, the community, the last levy that we did, $7.5 million levy, is a large levy for our community, and our community's feedback, that levy was to come back more frequent with smaller levies. So these are things we want to remember and think about as we go through. So here's a picture of our current levies besides the continuing ones. We renewed our emergency levy in 2017, which would need to be renewed in 2027 in order to keep those funds, as well as an emergency levy that we just passed in November of 19, and which will have to be renewed in 2029 to maintain those funds. And as we mentioned, in 2019, when we were out talking to the community about last levy, as well as in November when we were talking about the five-year forecast, we start having an operating deficit again in 2023, which means we will need an emergency levy in fiscal year 2024. Fiscal year 2024 is November of 2023. Remember, we operate on fiscal year, not calendar year. Here's a picture of where our revenue and expenditures have been in the past and how they're trending going forward. As you can see, in 2018, our revenue and expenditures met and equal, and then in 19, our expenditures started exceeding our revenue, and that's when we went out to the community and asked them to approve the emergency levy as well as our own internal reductions of operations of $2.6 million. So it was a combination of reducing operations as well as our community improving additional revenue. And then 2020, as you can see, in 2021, we get a full year of taxes. Taxes are on a calendar year. expenditures start exceeding our revenues. But remember, because taxes are flat when passed, you receive more in the first few years of your levy cycle to spend in the later years of your levy cycle. So you're going to see expenditures exceeding revenue at the end of the cycle, and then you have to, again, request the funds in order to have your revenue meet your expenditures or reduce operations and services. So this is a different way to see the same picture, but as you can see in 2023, at the bottom, without an additional levy, we start deficit spending, and by 2025, we would have to reduce 5.5% of our operations in order to have a balanced budget. And this past time, we had a reduction of 2.6 million, and that's, so you can see the difference of the significant impact and how deep that would go into our district. This is a picture to show you in 2020, we received half of the last levy that was passed. And the blue is our revenue, and the red is our expenditures. And then out here in 2023, our expenditures start exceeding our revenue. In 2024, we show in the light blue, very hard for something. You see the light blue at the top is the proposed emergency levy that we've been talking about in order to get our revenue at or above expenditures, so that as we go forward in 25, it goes above our expenditures through the levy cycle, which will then our expenditures and then be lower than our expenditures as it goes through the levy cycle. So as we talked at the beginning, our 3% partnership, this year we actually came in $780,000 less than what we projected in November. So we were able to come down, we're at 2.33% of the prior year, so underneath our 3% partnership agreement. Next year it does pop up, but remember, we don't always spend full budgets. And so if we were able to go into next year as we have trended in the past, we will be at 2.9%. So right at or just below that 3% partnership. And then going forward out into 24 and 25, we're slightly exceeding the 3%. And we know this, we also know that we have to watch our operations. We need to scale back where we can, but also that's also the year that we need additional revenue. Our cash balance reserve policy, we meet that for the first 3 years of the 5-year forecast. And then we start spending $2 million into the cash balance reserve, which then starts taking that down below our 60-day policy. And then we don't go through that next levy of our levy cycle, then we're into $10 million, and it just keeps compounding because cash reserves are one-time monies. A levy is a renewal or pass this money that we get every year to help use for our expenditures. So as we're using our cash balance, it's one-time money, it's not there for the next year, and it compounds quickly. So we can't get too far away from what we're dipping into things, otherwise we won't be able to ask for enough, and we'll have to make the cuts. As far as the levy cycle that I keep mentioning, the community did ask us to come back for more. Thought I fixed that cycle. To come back for smaller, more frequent levy cycles, and so projection is in the forecast what is currently projected as a 5 mil levy in 2024, which is actually as of November.
This all seems pretty trajectory what you've been saying, at least since I've been on board. I mean, that we would do on this cycle another levy in 2024.
Our operations are pretty similar, unless we make reductions to services or add services, which at this point we've only been able to try to maintain, and just recently we reduced services, so we have added. So our services are the same, as you can see,
Does this take into consideration when we just had that meeting with Bill Blessings and what, I mean, I know we can't 100% count on exactly what's going to happen with the new budget, I guess. So how does that play into this?
So the fair school funding formula is not in the forecast. The forecast reflects current law.
Okay.
If the fair school funding formula passes, then we will change, but it'll reduce both sides. It'll reduce revenue. We won't get funded for the students that are not attending here, that are our resident students, but we also don't have the expenditure funding.
Okay.
So in total, the whole forecast is like a $3 million difference. But until it's passed in law, we can
Sure.
project on.
Right.
So that is noted in the notes, both how it will affect both sides.
Okay.
Those are the assumptions of the forecast, which was filed and attached to the agenda.
Okay. Thanks, Ann.
Thank you.
With that, we're recommending that the board approve the eliminate 5-year projection assumptions that have been attached.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Passes 5-0. Thank you, Andy.
One more. It's May. Temporary appropriations. Temporary appropriations are a temporary budget because the permanent appropriations are not due till October 1st. However, our fiscal year starts July 1. We need to be able to process payroll as well as pay invoices and vendors and do our summer purchasing. So we need to approve our temporary appropriations. In the temporary appropriations document, the general fund matches the forecast as we just presented, as well as all our other budgets that have been submitted throughout the district by departments, student activities, various grants, that type of thing, for a total of $148 million in total budget. So with that, I recommend the Board of Education approve the temporary appropriations as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Appropriations passed 5-0.
Thank you.
All right, next you have the curriculum department handbooks. This is for information only. So you'll find 2021, 2022 curriculum department handbooks for information, as well as a summary of the changes that have been made to each of the handbooks. So please look them over. If you have any questions, please let myself know, or Brenda, or Dustin, and we will get the answers back to you. That is the curriculum department handbooks. For out-of-state field trips, we have requests from Northwest High School and Colerain High School for 2022. Colerain High School and Northwest High School Band, Choir, and Orchestra are requesting permission to take students to Orlando, Florida in April of 2022 for the Disney Performing Arts Workshop. 2 days of school will be missed. This is being presented at this time for information only. Board approval for these out-of-state field trips will be requested at the June meeting to allow both high school music departments to begin fundraising. So if you have any questions, please let us know about that. Student Services, 2021-2022 school year student support guidelines and the code of conduct. Again, this is for information only. If you have any questions, a summary of any changes is also attached. Let us know, and we'll get that information to you. And then lastly is a miscellaneous item. It is Neola Board Policy Revisions that we have to go through. Please look through all of them. If you have any questions about any of the policies that are on there, please let us know. And all of these will be brought back for action at the next June 7th board meeting. And that should take us to Superintendent's update. So I have one thing I wanted to cover. So Friday, which the governor is infamous for doing, he shot out the big message that masks are no longer required, which made a lot of people happy. But it also put us a little bit in panic mode, especially knowing that we had graduation Saturday morning at 11. And to be honest with you, the kids were awesome with it. The parents in the stands were awesome with it. It could not have went better. But he did come out later that afternoon and evening with a message to educational leaders. So I was just going to read it. It said, "Thank you for your hard work this year to provide safe and healthy in-person educational opportunities to Ohio students. As you may have seen, the Centers for Disease Control recently revised their recommendations around mask guidance for individuals who are fully vaccinated. While Ohio will be amending its health orders to comply with the new CDC guidance in order to maintain consistency and model safe behavior for Ohio students, these changes do not affect the existing order requiring the use of facial coverings and other health protocols in our schools. With limited number of students vaccinated, it is important that we continue these safety measures through the end of the current school year. I appreciate the effort that you have undertaken locally to protect students, and I look forward to continue to work with Ohio kids. Thank you, Governor DeWine." So we will continue to require masks for, I believe, what is 7 days of school left with our staff and students. So even during our teacher work days, they will be required to wear masks. But in looking at next year, we do not see as requiring masks as a mandate. I will, though, say that with flu season coming up, it will be optional if students do want to wear it. It was very preventative in stopping the flu and helping with attendance, so it's not something we're going to put in the handbooks that they cannot wear a mask. And I've discussed this with Kiva Bryce, who's our district nurse, so we will keep those opportunities open. There is also legislative power now that whatever order the governor puts out, legislators can get together and vote and overturn orders if they are over a significant amount of time. So we don't see that order coming about next year to start the school year, but I have had many questions from parents because of allergies and asthma and other type of things. The kids have really struggled with the mask. So we do not see that as being part of the requirements to start next school year. But we also are not looking at saying if a kid feels safe coming with them, because Mark and I saw it firsthand, and those of you who were at graduation, that some of the kids came across and they had the option to take the mask off because of portraits as they come across. We had Life Touch taking pictures, we had parents, we had Lindsay, and some chose to keep the mask on and chose to avoid us as they came around, which is fine and great. Some people have different levels of fear than others, so I thought that was important to share and just to let folks know. But we are planning on a full return next year, as we have talked many times, full 100% in person, full return to all our activities. I know that it was very enlightening just to call out Joe Paulette at Northwest High School that this year we could not have night lights, but they've had tryouts already and have 35 members ready to go for next year. So the kids are excited to come back. I wanted to throw one thing out. I hope I'm not stealing your thunder, but when we had to get band to play for graduation Saturday, alumni came back and played, and I think that showed a lot of school pride and helped out with the community, so I was very impressed with that. So that's all the comments I have.
So I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Is there anything we as a board need to do for our next board meeting as far as attendance here, capacity or anything?
Right now, the order has not changed for board members, so we are keeping the spacing at 6 feet. Eventually, I'm waiting for another order that says until our work policy changes, if we continue to wear masks. But as of right now, I'm still waiting to get a little bit more guidance, as are all the superintendents, on what we have to do with public meetings. So I don't have that answer right now. But in lieu of what he did change, and then with the president coming out and saying, wear a mask until you're vaccinated or wear one forever, that's kind of a little weird. And not knowing who's vaccinated when they come in or how you trace it, this part is going to stay the same, but making a decision how you all want to hold your meeting and what you want to do with masks. And then do we pull people back up here and get closer together, so on and so forth. Because we can check us, we do know how to go through that. It's just we do not have a way for the audience. So we can have that discussion and see how you guys, is that what you meant for how you want to run the meeting?
Yes.
Good. So for right now, we'll leave the spacing as it is, because we have no way to prove who's been vaccinated unless we're going to start checking vaccination cards as folks do. But I'm kind of thinking the governor is going to give us some order on that also for public meetings. But they have not for schools yet. So with that coming out and this being a school function, what we do is entirely 100% up to you five, because it's your meeting,
Right,
it's not mine.
because our next meeting is June 7th, which is
Correct.
actually the June 2nd date, but he's left it up to the schools to
Right.
determine.
I'm hoping if the other order says,
Right.
I expect something to come out. As soon as that comes out, we can put it out, and then Lindsay can put something out to PR, yes.
Okay.
You just never know with him. I mean, I agree with you, something should be out, yes.
Okay.
But it'd be nice to see that order first, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Anything else? Okay, that takes us to board comments. Joe?
Yeah, I just want to congratulate Miss Grayson, and I'm going to murder your last name there, Richmond. You got it? Atta baby. I want to congratulate you on this really neat program and the presentation tonight. And I wish you good luck when we really open up schools next year, guys. Keep us informed.
Yeah, I just want to second that. Karen and Troy, you guys did a fabulous job, and having all the kids involved that was pretty cool doing that. Really appreciate that. And then just wanted to again congratulate all the kids that graduated Saturday from Northwest. It's a good day, and that's it.
Okay, thanks.
Northwest graduation, I thought was perfect. The weather was beautiful. The kids did a great job. The speakers were amazing. They were amazing, every one of them. Todd talked about the alumni with the band. Jack Obermeyer, class of 2019, did a beautiful job playing the national anthem. It just, all of it, it was just a very, very special morning, and I don't think anybody was disappointed. I have to shout out to this one family. They were sitting on the track, and there were 4 of them, and they all had their little sticks and had a picture blown up of their graduate, and they were so cute. I got all these pictures on my phone, but it's from the back. Every time their graduate's name was announced for whatever club or whatever this, they'd all just keep raising. You know, they weren't screaming, hollering, but those things were just a waving, and it was so clever. I had the opportunity just a quick second to tell Dad how cool I thought that was. So it just was a really neat day, and I'm hoping cicadas stay away Saturday, and it's another beautiful day for Coleraine as well.
Just congratulations again to the staff PTA Staff of the Year awards that were presented this evening, and thank you for the presentation from Struble Elementary. Congratulations to the Northwest graduates on Saturday. Congratulations to the Butler Tech graduates that are graduating today, and also Coleraine High School this coming Saturday. Thank you.
Thanks. First, I want to say congratulations to Northwest. Pam, you're right on the money. I don't think the graduation could have went any better. I talked to a lot of the parents on the way out to ask if they had any issues with it being at Coleraine, and there was not one concern at all. The thing I took away, and maybe you guys will agree, is it was so much more personal. It wasn't like you're in this big arena and like you had to walk around an arena to try to find your way out or anything. Everybody was just right there, and it was like everybody was together, which I've not felt that before at some of our other venues. So I thought that was great. Congratulations on this presentation. Please thank all your students for participating in that. That's life-changing stuff. Like, to me, that's as good as it gets. That puts the planets in its best alignment for you guys to do your job. I want to thank all the PTA winners, and I especially want to reach out to the Shelley Feldmans of the world who help our educators, who climb the fence and get the ball that goes over, and does everything that they can to make the environment for our educators as good and give them as much face time and opportunity with our kids. Coleraine coming up, it's supposed to be a warm one, so I was trying to talk Todd into like maybe a short and polo shirt motif, but we'll stick with a formal wear, I guess. And then I guess this would be our last board meeting before school is out, so I just want to thank the educators for their adaptability, their flexibility. How do you predict this? I mean, there's just no way of predicting any of this. And we bobbed and weaved, and when we see stuff like this that we saw tonight, our efforts are working. Clearly, they're working. Pam, your comment about kids having the exact same message, that's the depth of which it's impacting our schools. It's been a great year, even though it's been a tough year, and we're seeing a lot of fruit for our school district's labor. I just challenge people to look for it, not look for the things that maybe fell out, but there have been an immense amount of blessings this past year, and I just encourage people to focus on them, and we grow from them. That's all I have.
Next is the executive session. The board will approve a motion to move into executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official. The superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the motion to move into executive session as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. So we will break for executive session. We will come back and adjourn the meeting, but there will be no other discussion topics. We'll just adjourn the meeting, and that'll be the end of the meeting. And thank you for coming. Finish strong, everybody, this year, and we will see you in June.